Hello everyone. Today you guys have a different view because the harsh light in my kitchen is just too much, but the windows work just fine and it's gorgeous outside, so we're going to do this instead. So today I'm actually going to do two different books, process of everything, but we're going to start with the junior chapter book, the Bailey School Kids. We're going to continue on that. This one is Snow Monsters Do Drink Hot Chocolate. And then the new books, they're old in the sense that they've been around for a while, but they're new, and somebody else brought them to my attention, and it's called The Puppy Place. And there's a whole bunch. We have Fluff and Freckles, we have Angel, we have Bubbles and Boo, and we have Coco, Chocolate Lab. And we have a couple different ones, Bear, Biggie, and then we have a kitty corner. And this one is Callie. She's a calico. But we will go into those after. So for now, we're going to start this. Alright. So, let me see here. Must have eyeballs. What is going on here? Oh, hold on. Oh, and they're yucky too. Yay! Okay, let's see here. Oh, gosh. There's all sorts of stuff on them. If you ever try to do anything with anything on your glasses, it drives you nuts. Anybody who has to wear glasses constantly knows this. I can still see stuff on them, but for the purpose of this, it'll be fine. Alright, so here we go. 1, flipped out. That is so cool how he said, wow, Melanie put down her sled to watch. Look at that, added Liza. The 4 kids were heading up Dead Man Hill. All around them kids were sledding. A few kids, like Eddie, used snowboards. But Melanie, Howie, Liza, and Eddie weren't looking at a kid. They were watching a grown-up on the snowboard. Zoom! The grown-up sped down the hill. Swoosh! His snowboard left the ground. Whoosh! He flipped through the air. That guy should be on TV, Melanie said. Eddie hugged his snowboard. I want to do that. Liza shook her head. You could get hurt. Those tricks are too dangerous. I won't get hurt. I'm going to get him to teach me how to do a flip, Eddie said. But before he could race over, Howie grabbed Eddie's scarf. Given what we know about Eddie, probably a good idea. Howie shook his head. Be careful. That guy probably practiced for years and years. Very true. Now look what you've done, Eddie snapped. All your talking made me miss my chance. He's leaving. The kids watched as the snowboarder took off his hat and goggles. His long white hair was covered with snowflakes. Snow fell off of his face and shoulders. It's about time he went home, Melanie said. It looks like he's been here all day. Howie nodded. There's so much snow on him, he looks like a snowman. He said, I'm sorry, you didn't get to talk to him, Liza said, and patted Eddie on the back. Eddie pulled away from his friends. Maybe it's not too late. I could still catch him, he cried. Wait, Melanie called, but Eddie never liked to wait. That is true. Chapter 2, Snow Monster. Eddie took off as fast as he could, but he forgot one thing, the snow. His boots slipped. Ah, he screamed. He teetered, he tottered. His feet went one way, swoosh, the rest of him went the other way. Wham! Eddie landed on his back and slid down the hill. Oh, my back hurts just thinking about that. Whew, no thank you. Help, Eddie screamed. Down, 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 Eddie rolled. By the time he reached the bottom of the hill, snow covered the top of his head. Snow stuck to his mittens, coats, and boots. Eddie's friends sledded down the hill to join him. Eddie, you look like a snowman, Liza told him rather. More like an abominable snowman. Abominable. What in the world is wrong with my abilities these days? Abominable. Abominable. Oh, Lord have mercy. It's not a tongue tie. I literally read. Wow, what is going on here? More like an abominable snowman, Melanie said with a giggle. Or a snow monster, Howie added. Very funny, Eddie shivered. You're freezing, Liza said as she helped him up. We need to warm you up fast. I know just the thing, Eddie said. Hot chocolate. Great idea, said Liza. Let's see if your grandma will take us to Burger Doodle. Burger Doodle? I mean, there's a lot of weird burger places, but Burger Doodle has me thinking it's not going to end well if it goes in. That's all I'm saying. But then again, this is a book. As soon as they pulled into a parking space, Eddie was out of his seat. He crawled over Howie and out the door of the van. His 3 friends hurried to catch up. Hot chocolate, Eddie chanted. Must have hot chocolate. Eddie ran straight to the door without watching where he was going. Bam! He slammed into something big and white. Chapter 3. Harry Snowden. Snowden. Okay. Moms and dads are like, oh, I mean, and mind you, this book was, let's see here. Hold on one moment. If I asked my son, I bet he knows. My kid has the absolute amazing ability. Hates reading on his own when we ask him to or when we ask him to read out loud. But because of the Asperger's, he can tell you the year every book was copywritten. And this one was copywritten in 2009. Most Bailey School books are a little bit older than that, but 2009, we're looking at almost 20 years there, everybody. 17. Snowden. Huh. Harry Snowden, Chapter 3. Eddie looked up into the face of the snowboarder from the hill. He had a face as pale as a snowflake. His jacket and snow pants were as white as the clouds in the skies. Icicles still hung from his hair. There was even a puddle of melting ice by his funny white boots. The snowboarder reached out to keep Eddie from slipping. Eddie noticed the man's body felt like a solid block of ice. Careful, the man said. Ice can be slippery. I hate ice, Eddie snapped. The man took a step back. Hate ice, he said. How can anyone hate ice? Hating ice is like saying you hate Christmas and Valentine's Day or candy and cookies. Eddie opened his mouth to argue, but before he could say anything, Eddie's grandmother and his friends caught up to him. How do you do? Eddie's grandmother said. I hope my grandson wasn't bothering you. Of course not, the man said. My name is Harry Snowden, he said, reaching out to shake Eddie's grandmother's hand. Oh my, Eddie's grandmother said, you're as cold as your name. I love the cold, Harry told them. This is the kind of weather I live for. Howie took a step back. Harry Snowden's breath felt like clouds in the air between them. Well, it was nice meeting you, Eddie's grandmother said. Come on, kids, let's go inside and have some hot chocolate. Now you're talking, Eddie said. I've never had hot chocolate, but I do love cold shakes, Harry said. It's hot chocolate good. It's great, Eddie yelled. Howie took a step closer, took a close look at Harry as heavy snow started falling over Burger Doodle. He said to himself. But his friends had already followed Eddie inside. Howie's thoughts floated away and were lost in the falling snow. Chapter 4. Splash. Here are our drinks, Eddie's grandmother said. The 5 of them sipped their hot chocolate without talking. Howie held his warm cup, but he kept looking out over the steam at Harry. Harry sat by himself. In fact, all the seats around Harry were empty. When a waiter walked by, Howie saw that he shivered. Howie tapped his chin. He scratched his head. He thought and thought and thought some more. Something about Harry Snowden bothered Howie. Something bothered him a lot. Eddie wasn't looking at Harry. Eddie was looking at the marshmallows floating on top of Howie's hot chocolate. If you're not going to drink that, can I have those marshmallows? Eddie asked without waiting for an answer. Eddie reached for Howie's mug. Splash! Howie's cup tipped over. Hot chocolate spilled onto the table. Liza grabbed the mug just in time to save some of Howie's drink. Oops, Eddie said. Sorry. Eddie's grandmother frowned. I'm going to get napkins to clean up this mess. You behave while I'm gone, she said, while looking directly at Eddie. Eddie groaned. He didn't like to behave, just like he didn't like to wait. Howie didn't care about his hot chocolate. He was still busy watching Harry Snowden. He took a sip from his mug and then gasped. What's wrong? Liza asked. Did the hot chocolate burn your tongue? Melanie asked. No, but I have something crazy to tell you, Howie said. Do you play with dolls? Eddie asked. No, Howie said. Do you eat bugs? Liza asked. No, Howie said. Do you sleep with a teddy bear? Melanie asked. No, Howie snapped. But even if I did, I wouldn't tell you. I sleep with a chompy. He's a giant stuffed... We call him a crocodile. He's technically a stuffed alligator. Then what is it? Melanie asked. It's Harry, Howie said. I think he's a snowman. The four kids glanced at Harry sipping his milkshake. Eddie laughed. Where's his corncob pipe and carrot nose? Howie shook his head. Not that kind of snowman. I'm talking about an abominable snowman. A yeti. They're secret monsters that hide in the mountains or woods. But now one has come to Bailey City. The kids looked at Harry again. He chugged another cold milkshake. Ice still hung from his hair, and now a big puddle of water formed around his boots. You are silly, Eddie said. He's not a monster, and I can prove it. How? Eddie asked. How Howie asked. Easy, Eddie said. Watch and learn. Well, that ought to go over bad. Chapter 5. Clumsy. Eddie darted around a table. He hopped over a chair. He nearly bumped a waiter with a tray of hot chocolate mugs. The closer Eddie got to Harry, the chillier the air was. Eddie's breath came out in quick clouds of cold air as he snuck up behind Harry. Eddie, no! Liza squeaked. Just then, Eddie's foot splashed in the puddle around Harry's chair. Only it wasn't a puddle anymore. It had turned to ice. Yikes! Eddie yelled as his foot slipped out from under him. Well, you live and learn, dude. You live and learn. Without even turning around, Harry grabbed for Eddie and stood up. He lifted Eddie off the floor. Oh my, my, Eddie's grandmother said as she rushed over. Harry slowly lowered Eddie to the floor. No worries, Harry said. I just helped your grandson before he slipped on the ice again. The tips of Eddie's ears turned bright red. Eddie's grandmother looked at Eddie. Well, she said, don't you have something to say to the kind man? Eddie was clueless. Your hands are cold, he told Harry. Yeah. Eddie's grandmother poked him in the arm. Mr. Snowden just helped you, she reminded him. What do you say? Eddie thought and thought and thought some more. Finally, Liza came up and whispered in his ear. Oh, I get it, Eddie said. Thanks. And now I think it's time for me to get you kids home, said Eddie's grandmother. Before we get snowed in, say goodbye to Mr. Snowden. Bye, the kids said as they headed out the door. Snow covered the road. Snow was piled on cars. Flakes swirled through the air. It's going to snow forever, Melanie said with a giggle. That, Howie said, is exactly what I am afraid of. It's a valid fear, I guess. Chapter 6. Forever Winter. It snowed all afternoon. It snowed all the next day. It snowed and snowed and snowed. Yippee! No school, Eddie yelled when he met his friends at Deadman Hill. Lisa and Melanie were making snow angels. Howie stood off to the side and stared at the sledder racing down the hill. Bam! Eddie tossed a snowball at Melanie. Pow! Eddie tossed a snowball at Liza. Melanie and Liza threw snowballs back. Plop! Lisa's snowball fell in the snow by Eddie's foot. Smack! Melanie's snowball landed right in Eddie's shoulder. Howie didn't even notice. His face was as pale as the snow on the ground. What's wrong? Liza asked as the three kids huddled around Howie. The snow, Howie said. Eddie nodded. Isn't it great? Eddie grinned. He clapped his hands. He did a happy dance. School will be closed forever, he yelled. Howie grabbed Eddie's arm to stop his happy dance. Don't you get it? Howie asked. This is the work of a monster, a snow monster named Harry. I mean, Howie's pretty convinced. Do you really think he has something to do with it? Melanie asked. Howie looked at his friends. I do. Not only is Harry a snow monster, but he brought winter to Bailey City, and as long as he's here, there will be no sunshine, no spring, no flowers. We'll be stuck with winter forever. Liza gasped. That's terrible. We have to do something. Melanie put her hands on her hips. I'm not saying I believe Howie, she said, but I know how we can prove it one way or the other. How? Liza asked. Easy, she said. A snow monster wouldn't like hot things, right? We just have to get him near something hot. That's just mean. Eddie slapped Melanie on the back. Good idea. Let's do it. Then Eddie stomped away through the snow. Wait, Melanie said. We need to make a plan. Okay, I'm going to stop because I was reading these all in one whack and I felt like there was no time for anybody to I'm not even reading this time, to digest it. So I'll let everybody kind of do that. And then if you want, move on to the next one. But because I was reading this about how they were doing a happy dance, we had a teacher when I was in school, and he would tell the kids, if you do a happy dance tonight, you probably won't have school in the morning. Moms and dads, you know how this goes. We know the magic they were using. But sometimes it did work, even when the weather report wasn't calling for a lot of snow or ice or any of the such. So remember to always do your happy dance. It's the moral of the story. He told us it was like an ancient Indian tribe dance, and that you needed to kind of do it in a circle with your friends. I think our teacher had a good sense of humor, but it was definitely fun. So get your friends. Teach each other a tribe dance for the next snowstorm. Don't do it in the middle of summer. No, please. Don't do that. All right.